Well, the president got mixed reviews from the audience when he said that government doesn't create jobs. In his State of the Nation address last night, he stressed that business should be employing the nation. He's pledged to make it easier to do business in South Africa, and this includes bypassing his own Ministry of Small Business by creating a new team that plans to cut the red tape. Let's find out what Professor Peter Baur thinks of the president's plans. Prof. Baur, thanks so much for joining us. I mean, the State of the Nation address really focused on revitalizing the economy, structural reform and regulatory reform. Is this what you were hoping and that business was hoping for? There wasn't too much new, just more timelines, if you like.
Absolutely, there was actually a lot new. I really did. I did appreciate his address last night. I think he's making a very determined move to bolster both investor confidence and business confidence. He's also focusing very much on making the red tape, sort of doing away with much of the red tape and trying to make it much easier for businesses to accelerate towards achieving business goals in South Africa. Obviously, we're looking at using this as a platform to develop jobs and obviously create better growth for the country. So in this case, I think it was a very, very positive, bold move.
Okay, so some business leaders would disagree with you about how much was new, but a new unit in the presidency to clear some of the bureaucracy. What are some of the challenges that businesses are facing in terms of so-called red tape?
In order, it's very costly to get small businesses up and running, and even for investors, in order to settle into the country is quite a difficult process. So we're trying to streamline that. I think what he's also focusing on are the overarching ideas, such as improving things like the electricity flow, better infrastructure, better access to ports. All of these things make it much easier for businesses to develop and grow. And so when he's, I think the difference in terms of between this particular SONA and previous ones is that there's this huge commitment and also an openness towards transparency and accountability. And we could see that in response with his cabinet. And so, yeah, I think government has taken the bull by the horns. And if President Cyril Ramaphosa is going to now make a move, I think this is the best time to make that move. There are, of course, a number of constraints.
There was the announcement of an extension of the 350 Rand a month grant, but not the basic income grant. Do you think that with the commodity boom, we could be a little bit more fiscally creative in making sure that big actually happens?
Yes, I think it's extremely important that we do take advantage of this commodity boom right now. But we could see that in terms of the way he's looking at restructuring or giving the informal sector access to a business platform for us. He's also making sure that the different sectors are all dealt with in appropriate ways. So your primary sector, the farming, agriculture, mining have better access to obviously infrastructure. We're looking at energy for small businesses, and we're looking at telecommunications and telecoms in the tertiary sector. And all of these are very bold moves. Where our big challenge is in terms of affordability. How do we raise the kind of funding to put this kind of money into practice? We need to fund a very ambitious project here, and that is going to be expensive. And the challenge is, how do we raise that right now, especially with an economy which is sitting at about 80% of debt to GDP?
I mean, I think they were looking at about 40 billion Rand, or 40 billion as part of the fiscus. How much is that in relation to the actual fiscal pie?
Well, that's unfortunately a little bit out of my knowledge right now. But you could rest assured that his openness towards promoting job creation through things like your expanded public works program, which is a very strong initiative to actually alleviate some of the pressure. I think he's committing a large portion of that pie to actually the commitment of actually developing these projects. Of course, we need to realize that, building power stations, laying this infrastructure, etc., is an extremely expensive initiative. And he spent a lot of time speaking about infrastructural development. I think he's going to rely on the fact that if we can get the business sector to grow, it will actually also add towards the fiscus. So it's a kind of a sort of like a hand-in-hand effect. I do believe that we've got the initiative and the ability to pull it off, but really the commitment from our president clearly seems to be there.